And welcome to DCCodingGames.com. Today we are mastering Medieval Dynasty and we're going to be talking about the top 10 tips for success. Now before we get there, if you could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Also, don't forget to check out my website at dccodinggames.com where you can get the Game Pass and play this game, and I'll also have a bonus tip at the end, so please stay tuned. So the first thing I would do is employ the workers to jobs that they like doing. If you don't, then their happiness and everything will diminish. For example, I have a mine here and I have houses around the place and they're all working in this mine to keep their happiness up. So on my map here, I have my big settlement here, and then I have a mining area here. Now, I wouldn't want my villager to go from the big settlement in every morning up to the mining area. They'd be very unhappy and wouldn't appreciate it, also would waste time. So you wouldn't get as much production done from that villager. A little trick what I've done is I've actually name these places. For instance, this house I've named mine 2, and then my actual mine I have named mine 2 and then iron, because I'm just producing iron there, and it just makes your whole village more organized. Now I do have a few different mines now, so you might actually want to name them where they are in considering on the map. So in this instance, maybe I'd actually want to rename it now Branica, and that would make it a bit more easier for me to manage. Now in the early stages of the game, you probably will build wattle and wood houses. Now it's very important actually to start building stone for your houses. For instance, having stone house will actually make your villages happier. So here I have 100%, and also actually decorate them inside will make them happier. I've got a video on that, so do check it out. Also, having them as a simple house or a house will help. So you see here, a simple small house can only acquire one sibling for the married couple, and a house and a simple house can actually acquire 2. Now what's the difference between the house and the simple house? Well, having a house makes your people happier because you can get more decorations, etc. in there, whereas a simple house will only have a limited amount of decorations they can get. So your happiness for the villagers will differ. Now, yes, you do have more tax for a house, which is 60, and the others are less, but you know, you have to consider, well, do you want to pay a bit more in the early stages, or do you actually want to profit more later on? Now I would acquire a horse as soon as you can. So all those coins, try to accumulate them, because I would really try to get this horse going, and it will help you from getting one place to the other quicker. You can start to do quests quicker. You can sell off more stuff because you'll actually not only be quicker, but you'll actually have a saddle, and you can get a large saddle that will really help. In my opinion, donkeys don't do much. I don't even see why I have it. When you acquired quite a few stuff in the game, like resources, etc., clothes, all these materials, then you'd want to consider building a market hall. A market halls are very good in the game because they're a passive income to you. If you go to it, you can start selling off firewood, for instance, and all these bigger items, because they're the ones that will actually overrun your store and the weight of it. So for instance, if you started having too many of sticks or too much firewood or planks, etc., then you'd want to start selling these off first, I think. Seeds and things are good as well, but I would always try to sell off the more weighted items, and then the other items you can worry about later. I mean, you could start getting 6 market halls. This is a good number, and then you'd have a very considerable profit coming in. This is coming on to the next point, but it's very good to calculate what you have so you know how much to sell. And I would also very much calculate your wood demand. Now, I have a video on this, how to do that, so do check that out, because if you are producing less than what the demand is, then you're gonna have yourself in a tricky situation, and that will lead to not being successful. And if villagers leave and you lose your reputation in the village and it goes down to very low, then you're not in a good place and the game could even go game over. So just watch out with all that stuff, because it's water, food and wood is very important to get the right amount being made, and you're not using too much of it that you end up in a very tricky situation. But as I said, please check out my video to know how you could calculate this wood demand and how you could potentially use it for other things like water and food. In all honesty, I've seen people on this game where they've not had 100% intensity. Now, I would always put your workers at 100% intensity, even though that you think you're producing more of it, because you can just build another resource building. And also, if your resource is getting overrun, then just sell it. Even go into your customization and use the weight thing, because they've made this, and just tick it. At the moment I'm using a lot of things on there just to show you guys. You know, you can use some of that to help you in this game. The more resources that you produce in the game, best it is, because you can then just sell it off on into your market halls, or just go to a village and sell it off that way. For the next point would be farming, and cabbage is very good at the early stage because it actually produces twice in the year and you can get quite a bit of it. It is probably the cheapest to sell, but also the cheapest to buy. And also you'd probably want other veg like beetroot, carrots, onions, etc., because they're also used for your food and stuff like that. But in the later stages you will want wheat and flax. Wheat is very good because it turns into flour, which can be used in the kitchen, etc. And then the flax will be very good for your clothes. Now you can see here that I have a lot of wheat, a lot of flax, because a lot of it is being used and you can profit from it. Another one that people don't really consider a lot is poppy ones, and that's very good because it's actually a number 2 priority in the food here, so that's a very good one to look at. Also rye and oat are very good because it really feeds all your animals that you have. I have a whole bunch of animals. They produce different things like feathers, milk, etc. So very, very good one to have. And also the oats will actually help you with making beers, etc. And actually the wheat grain does too. Get a windmill. Windmill is great for your producing of flour. You don't need a barn to make flour, get a windmill. It's more efficient, you only need 1 worker in it, makes more. Then your barn can do the rest of what they're doing, like making oat grain or animal feed, etc. So, you know, you'll only need a windmill and a barn 3 level if you can get it, then that should be enough. Also, in the early stages of the game, exploration is a really good one because you can come across different things like chests, example. And look, I even found a potion here. So it's great because there are things you can get in the early stages which are actually a level up items that your level isn't required to do. that you can actually advance yourself early on quite well. Now, getting into the bonus tips. Well, one thing I would always do is go to your customization, because this is really, really good in terms of you can customize what you want. You can make your life a bit easier, like putting your XP gain multiplier up so you gain more quickly. If you just want a quick game and you don't want to be hanging around too much. Otherwise, if you want to make it more realistic, you can untick a lot of these. And also, one thing I've done also is building limit I put up to 200%, because that's actually an unrealistic thing. It depends on how good your computer is, etc. If you have a very good computer and it can deal with it, then put it up to 200%, and then you can have more buildings, etc. Having a limit is not actually that realistic in that aspect. But there is also something that I wouldn't really tilt with. I know that in the comments some people have, but if you make the length of seasons too short, you might have issues, and if you have it too long, you might have issues. I do a video where I talk about this a bit more, so do check it out. Also, in the skills, diplomacy I've tried to put my attention to, because these are quite good. This gives you less demand of food and wood and water, which would make you lead to a better success in your settlement, because you wouldn't have to be worrying about it too much. So acquiring this early on would be great. Also, inspiring speech makes the production of your NPCs better. That's a really good one. And also barter. Barter is a very good one in terms of selling your stuff, etc. You'll get more of it, so you might make the same amount of coins in the early stages by selling less. And Romeo is a very good one in the early stages. It allows you to actually get in with the person that you want to make as a wife, because this is very important, because you need an heir. Otherwise, if you don't have an heir in the game and your character eventually grows old and dies, then your game will be over. Well, that's all I have for now. It would be great to see what you guys think of this, and if you had any other tips that you'd like to share, would be fantastic. Please comment in the section below, and also do check out my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.